Hey guys, I say this all the time. We have a special guest. This is a great treat, but really today, Philadelphia Phillies, if you've been living under a rock, are going to the World Series. And today we have Oscar Budejen, who is the Spanish play-by-play announcer for the Philadelphia Phillies. Really exciting guy. When you hear him talk about the sport, he had so much enthusiasm. Before during the summer, he came on and we were talking about, we want to play the Mets. Let's get
we
the
won
Mets.
the Mets. We won the Mets. Come on. I wanted to get back to the Mets.
Yes.
The Mets didn't last too long.
Oscar, tell the people about yourself really quick before we get into it.
Well, I've been business executive all my life, but kind of during my off times, during the weekends, I've always broadcasted the sports. I did the NFL for about, I would say, 15 years across all of Latin America, and probably about 10 years I did baseball. I was born with a radio in my ear, listening to both baseball and football games. I learned English actually listening to the NFL through the Armed Forces radio, through a shortwave radio down in South America, where I lived in Venezuela, where I was born. So, and my home was, I spent most of my time during the year down in Venezuela, but I would go to Atlanta because my grandparents moved from Cuba to Atlanta after Fidel Castro. So Atlanta kind of was my second home for a number of years until I moved to Philly. And then it's where I established my real home.
That's awesome, man. So you living in Philly, what was the atmosphere like on Monday morning? Even today, I'm sure people are still just grinning ear to ear.
It's been surreal. What we've lived in the city, what we have lived on the road. I've been on the road with a team since the San Luis series, and just what the team is there. They're teams that basically elevate their game at the right time. And the Phillies, despite being kind of, if you look at it, there were 6 teams in the National Leagues and 6 teams in the American League qualifying, and we were the last team in the National League to qualify. We came in 6th and we're the last wild card. We basically have stepped it up, and Bryce Harper has been unreal. He's playing out of this world, and this team is scary. Red October, I put it back there.
Yes.
This team is hot, and anything is possible. Look, when you get this hot, and this team has the pitching that both Wheeler, Nola, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Ranger Suarez, Jose Alvarado have brought to this team. Eflin, some of the other guys, Syndergaard has also made some important contributions. This team, you get that pitching, which is absolutely critical in short series, and then you get the hitting by Harper, what Hoskins and Schwarber have been able to do, hitting Schwarber bombs and Hoskins bombs in this last series against San Diego. Particularly here in Philly, incredible. The home run Schwarber hit in San Diego is still, that ball hasn't fallen down.
I know.
I've never seen anything like it, man. It was, what a shot. Tom McCarthy called it Titanic. I call it
488, right, Oscar?
He put it out of this planet. It was incredible. What a shot. 488 feet in the air. And he in this last weekend, I think on Saturday, he hit another shot where he sat down on that ball. Oof, unbelievable. This team is on fire. That's and it feels that way. And everybody's very, very excited.
What's so unbelievable to me is that it's everybody. It's such a cool thing to watch, because you're seeing Stott, you're seeing Marsh make big hits, you're seeing even Castellanos, who's been struggling, still making solid hits. You get these bombs from Rhys Hoskins, knowing that he's under the most pressure he could possibly. He's the last bridge to, he's the oldest tenured. If I have this correct, Oscar, he's the longest tenured Philly. It's his
Hoskins,
team.
Hoskins and Nola. They tend to be. Well, one thing that I mentioned to you, and it's something hidden regarding Castellanos. Castellanos hit 315 in the second half of the year with men in scoring position, and he hit If I recall correctly, the number was like 341 in the postseason. He's been hitting wonderfully with men on a scoring position, and it's something that he might miss when he doesn't have anybody on base and he strikes out a little bit too much. But he's hot when somebody gets on base. I mean, Castellano is very, very scary, and particularly he hits a lot of doubles. So that, just watch out with Castellanos. I mean, the numbers could be deceiving with him.
I've been telling everybody that I have a chance, and I have a show. If you haven't heard of it, it's called Honorable Mention. I've been telling people, don't count Nick Castellanos out for one of these huge, humongous, game-changing moments. It's going to come. The regression to the mean. The guy is a star. Before he got to Philly, he was a star. He's not a superstar. He's not a Bryce Harper or Aaron Judge or anything like that.
Or Realmuto is out of this world. I mean, JT Realmuto is such. Look, it's a luxury to come to the ballpark and watch JT Realmuto do what he does. The preparation that when I go to the clubhouse, I see him preparing for the games. You can see him studying. You can see him working with the pitchers and communicating with the pitchers before the game in the planning phase. And then when you see how he runs from home to first base, he hits a ground ball. It's almost every time. It's almost a hit because how fast he runs to first base. I mean, what an athlete. I mean, he was unbelievable. I mean, before Harper hit that home run, I was saying in the broadcast, Harper is talking to Realmuto right now. Get on base and we're going to win the game. And there you go. It happened. It happened. It was the greatest. I mean, the greatest hit since I've kind of been with the Phillies is the greatest hit that I've seen. What a player. I mean, both in Realmuto and Harper, it's a luxury to see them both of them. I mean, since the second half of last year, the way Harper, and I've been saying it, the way he approaches the plate is that's why he won the MVP. He won it based on how he played in the second half of last year. He started that hot in the first part until he got hit by that pitch. He was out for 2 months. The months of September was very scary. He had 194, but my goodness, he turned the page in the postseason, hitting above 400, and 11 extra bases. His Harper, it's Harper.
It's unbelievable. I had Frank Close from 97.3 ESPN. We were talking about it before the postseason, before the Cardinal series, and I was like, a run here could really get JT Realmuto in the realm where you're starting to consider Hall of Famer. I mean, if he gets this World Series, I feel like you just got to get him in because, I mean, the signature moment of an inside the park home run. At home in the stadium from your catcher. It's just, if you've played baseball, and it's not even just that, it's the small things that only the real lovers of the game are appreciating. The way he's framing up his pitches, the way that runners don't even really take big leads off of first because they're not really trying to ever steal on him. He changes the game in small ways that aren't really appreciated by the everyday fan.
He's, to me, one of the most complete players in all of baseball. And I mean, throwing out runners, he's number one in Major League Baseball, throwing out runners. I mean, for sure, number one is stealing bases. I mean, he stole 21 bases this year. He tied the record together with Posh Rodriguez as the two catchers that have ever hit 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases in a season.
That name, Pudge Rodriguez. Think about the company he's in right there.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's probably the best athlete on this team, and you have other guys like Ranger Suarez. He's not going to win the Gold Glove this year among pitchers because he missed the cut by 3 innings. But you will not find a better defensive pitcher than Ranger Suarez. I mean, Cal Gibson, I know he's not been lately kind of at the top of his game. He pitched okay. He's pitched okay in the postseason, but September was not his best month. He's another outstanding athlete. This team has some great athletes. I mean, with Realmuto, Ranger Suarez, Harper. I mean, we have some very, very good athletes.
So when you brought up Kyle Gibson, when the Phils have to go to their fourth, this is a longer series, just like the last one was. Maybe it's a
Yeah.
5-game series, and maybe this is not as much of a conversation. But when they go to that fourth arm, do they go with Syndergaard? Do they go with Bailey Falk?
Syndergaard. I don't think. I mean, we tried Falter. It didn't work out. I mean, if there's one thing that I admired out of Thompson is he combines statistics together with kind of the human part of the game. He felt good about Falter. It's probably the only bad decision he made this entire postseason. I mean, in terms of bringing Falter, but he immediately, fixed it. And
Yep.
you know what? Something that would go away, and you say, "Oh, it was a small thing." Bringing Brogdon to finish that first inning with 2 outs, and then asking the guy to get 7 outs. It was huge on that fourth game. That was the game that I was most scared about because we knew we had Ranger on the third game and Wheeler on the fourth game, on the fifth game. I was very scared about that fourth game. I didn't have a good feeling about it. And they went out, 4-0, but then Hoskins turned it on. 2 home runs in that game, and unbelievable. I think we won the series, but also the manager of the Padres, Melvin, did not do a very good job managing his bullpen. When he went 6-4 on that fourth game with a home run by Soto, he needed to bring Garcia, Suarez, and Hader and win that game the same way that Thompson won game 3 with Ranger Suarez. The same way. He brought Eflin very early in that game, brought Sir Anthony early, brought Alvarado early, and he figured out and how to end up that game, and he needed to do the same thing. Sir Anthony at the end closed that game with the 2 innings that he did. He was scrambling, and that's another tremendous player, Sir Anthony Dominguez. What a hit! What a pitcher, man! That guy is lights out. Completely lights out. In 7 innings and 2/3, he struck out 15 batters. And he didn't. And he had some bad luck on Sunday because the ball was wet and he couldn't throw it, and he threw a few wild pitches. But what an arm for us to have him, and he got hot at the right time in the St. Louis series, and he has kept it up. And we have one of the best closers. Closer by closer, Presley for Houston, that is very good. And Sir Anthony, I would put Sir Anthony against Presley any day of the week.
Yeah, and for the listeners, if you like the Phils, I know, like Oscar mentioned, he had a rough outing, lost control of the ball a little bit, gave us a few heart palpitations. We'll be all right. Sir Anthony Dominguez is filthy. He has some filthy stuff. He has that gas. You guys want him in. And like you said, when you brought up Hader, I was so pleased that I didn't see much of Hader. I saw him that 1 inning for it was unbelievable because the Phillies couldn't touch him.
Well, we did. We did during the regular season in Milwaukee, where Alec Baum and Bierling hit home runs against him, and we won a miracle game there in Milwaukee. That was one of our greatest victory this year. But Harper had one at bat against him. He struck him out. Harper did not look good, and it didn't take too much to understand that. Suarez is a very good pitcher for them, but my goodness, Harper, you had the game right there, and he was talking about he was going to get him for a 4-out save. Forget about the save. You got to save the game right there against. You had the game won. You needed to get Harper out. You needed to get Harper out no matter what. You put your best pitcher. You imagine what a Machado or a Juan Soto would feel coming back on that plane from Philly to San Diego and saying, we lost this game because our manager did not put our best pitcher against their best hitter. And it's something I wouldn't go to sleep very easy with that. To be honest with you, if I would be the manager of that team. But, well, you know what? He did the right thing from my standpoint.
No, exactly. Great job, Mr. Melvin. Bob, you'll get an honorary. Meet us at the parade.
Meet us at the parade.
I'll buy you a drink, Bob.
I'll buy you a
drink.
I'll buy you a drink, no doubt.
Oh man. So, obviously if folks haven't heard the song Dancing on My Own, it is a big hit now. It came out in 2016, but these songs, it's so nostalgic for people. People get attached to them, and now it's this big thing. Tell the people about like what it's like in the stadium after the game and they play that song.
Look, yeah, I mean it's wild, right? I mean it's wild not only in the stadium but also in the clubhouse. Every time we're celebrating a victory inside the clubhouse, the team goes crazy and start dancing, and now everybody's dancing in the stadium. I cannot thank enough the fans. I mean, the Philly fans are the best fans in the planet. Look, I've traveled the world. I've been in World Cups. I've been in soccer matches in Spain, Argentina. I've been in baseball games in the Dominican Republic, in Venezuela. I mean, where all the fans go absolutely, in Italy, in soccer matches. I mean, look, there is nothing like the Phillies fan. The difference between a San Diego and being in San Diego, being in St. Louis. I mean, St. Louis fans are very polite. They pull for their team. They're very loyal to the Cardinals. The Brave fans, I mean, if they're winning, they go to the stadiums. If not, they don't. And San Diego is kind of up and coming, right? They have that huge rivalry with the Dodgers, and
Yep.
they're very loyal fans as well. Uh, I would say the Phillies fan, in terms of the passions, they double and triple any one of those
Yes.
fans.
Yep.
Because it's just, we live it in our blood. I mean, that's what I mean. I live here. I've been living for the last 20 years in Philly, and it's the way we feel our teams. I mean, the Phillies, the Eagles, I mean, the Sixers, I mean, the Flyers, I mean, the Union. I mean, the Unions, look at that. They're in the
I
conference
know.
final there. I mean, they're doing a tremendous job. And look,
Something in the water.
we love our sports. I mean, we love our sports, and we live and die, and we cheer them when they do good, and we boo them when they don't do what they are supposed to be doing. I mean, we want everybody to do their best, and when they do their best, I mean, we love them. And look, the fans have been such a weapon. I mean, such kind of that element, that 10th man in baseball. I mean, it's that 12th man in football. I mean,
Yep.
we do. I mean, our fans are like, we live. I mean, even when I'm broadcasting, I can feel the energy in the stadium, and it goes through the broadcast because of the passion that our fans feel. And it's just amazing. I mean, the best fans in the world. I mean, hands down, man, hands down.
No question about it. And you can tell that the opposing teams, you can tell that they're getting juiced up from it too. Like they get juiced up to kind of like chide back at the Philly fans, and it's fun to watch it happen. But you can tell it's because they're not used to that. They don't get Philly fans have that next level, that next gear that we get to, that because we really like our sports are part of our life. They're not like a thing that like is a part hobby. Like it's ingrained. That's why the song is such a big deal for people, because people are now they're reliving, that great moment on Sunday night when, this whole run has been so magical and unbelievable that they
unexpected. Nobody expected it. Again, my hats off to Thompson and the entire coaching staff. I mean, what they've done to turn this team into the machine that it is today is amazing. We've won the first game in the first 3 series. We won in the 2 series that we've gone to a third game. We won that key third game as well. There is nothing like starting up front. And then in the majority of the games, except the 4th game in this San Diego series, we've been ahead.
Yes.
I mean, we've been ahead. That has been such an important factor. And then when we went behind on that 4th game, 4-0, that home run by Hoskins saying, look, we're not giving up. I mean, we are here to win this game, and we stole that game. We stole that game from the Padres.
It's all coming together, and it's beautiful.
And I love that we're underdogs. You know how we love being underdogs. I mean, the Eagles did it.
Bring it on.
The Eagles did it in 2017. I mean, and we're ready to do it here. I mean, I can't wait. I mean, by the way, the Astros are probably one of the most complete teams that I've seen in many, many years. They're pitching. They're starting pitching. Their bullpen and their hitters are, again, it's one of the most complete teams you will find. We're going to have to play outstanding baseball, great defense. I'll repeat that again, great defense. We cannot let people on base. This team is too smart. And we'll talk further about it as we go on the podcast. But, we're going to have to play outstanding baseball to beat an outstanding baseball team like the Astros.
So one of the guys, obviously the names that people will recognize is Jose Altuve. People give Nick Castellanos a rough time for his struggles, but this postseason, Jose Altuve, future Hall of Famer, is only batting. He's batting under 100.
Yeah, he went over 25 in the series against Seattle, in the beginning of the series against the Yankees, but he's 3 out of 7 in the last couple games. Look, Altuve is a tremendous leadoff, and this team. When you start looking at Altuve, Peña, when you start looking at Bregman, probably one of the most disciplined hitters in baseball. Bregman, he hit 333 with 2 home runs and 7 RBIs in the postseason. And you look at Alvarez. Alvarez hit only 241, but he's a monster. He's what Harper is to us, Alvarez is to them. One of the most complete players in all of baseball. And most probably, he's going to be very, very far. He's going to probably be the MVP. On the American League. He is an absolute monster when that guy hits. Him and Ohtani. He's going to be in that fight for the MVP of the league. But he's such an outstanding hitter. And look, if it's not one, it's another. And that's why our hitting needs to continue to be hot. We need the Hoskins, the Schwarbers, the Realmutos to complement Harper in the lineup. And we need the bottom of the order with kind of a Stott, Segura, and March. March didn't hit much on the last series, but he had that huge home run against the Braves on that clinching game. He needs to make contact, and we're going to need all our hitters. We need to play great defense, and we're going to have to be able to compensate their outstanding pitching with some hitting because they are really good in all phases of the game.
So are you thinking not much Vierling this series and Marsh almost all the time?
Well, they're primarily, outside of Valdez, maybe that Valdez game, Farmer Valdez, which is he had 26 quality starts during the regular season, number 1 in all of Major League Baseball. An outstanding left-handed that he throws a lot of curves. He will probably have Bjerling starting that game, which should be game 2. Verlander will start game 1. Farmer Valdez will start game 2. I'm not sure if they're going to do the same thing they did with the Yankees. Christian Javier will start game 3, and then McCuller. If you look at those
four good pitchers, very good.
No. Not good. Berlin, they're the best staff in baseball. They are out of this world. When I tell you out of this world, they are. Just to give you an idea, I saw a chart from Codify that had dotted on the best pitching performance of since 2000. Okay, since the year 2000, over the last 22 years.
22 years, yeah.
Yeah, 22 years. You see kind of a cloud, and there are 2 dots outside that cloud. One of those dots is Verlander this year. One of those dots. He had a 1.75 ERA. The guy is filthy. The guy
Hall
is
of Famer already before
he's a Hall of Fame by a landslide. That's when you talk about Hall of Fames for the Phillies. I don't want to talk about Hall of Fames for the Phillies. They're too young and they still need to go a long way.
Yes.
So we don't want them to feel comfortable. Let's put it that way. We want them to continue striving and be the best versions of themselves. But they're starting 4. It's now. Wheeler is our best pitcher. It's without a doubt. Wheeler and Verlander are two of the best pitchers in baseball. They're talking about starting Nola. I would start Wheeler. To me, Wheeler is your best pitcher. If you need to go to a game 7, Wheeler could potentially pitch a couple of innings. If he starts game 2, he will not have that luxury because he would be pitching game 6 if he goes with the second if he goes game 2. So I would
go with Wheeler in game 1, potentially game 5, and then some in game 7.
See, this is part of the challenge, right? Wheeler with extra days of rest is 202. Wheeler without extra days of rest is 366. And if he pitches the first game, he would be without extra rest. So, look, but he's so filthy right now after he came from his injury. I mean, the guy, I mean, he's pitched 25 innings. He have an ERA of 178. In those 25 innings, strike out 25 batters, 3 bases on balls. The average of the hitters are 118. I mean, he's pitching out of his mind.
I was pretty. The question about earlier, we talked about Rob Thompson's one mistake. I feel like the mistake was to go to Sir Anthony there in the 8th.
Oh, you mean against on the last game? I mean, you don't know if the grasping of the ball would have been an issue. You're talking on Sunday, right? You're talking the Sunday game.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't know if the grasping of the ball. I mean, look. Alvarado came after him and pitched fantastic. So, look, it is what it is. When that ground ball that Castellanos hit on that game 4 hit second base, I said, "There's destiny here. There's destiny." So there's a reason why we're here. I mean, that ground ball could have been the last out and could have avoided damage that we did that brought runs in. I mean, you never know. You never know if that ball is caught by Cronenworth. I mean, it stops a significant rally, and we could have lost that game, and we could be playing in San Diego today or whatever. I mean, so anything is possible.
We would be in trouble if we had a longer series and then we had to face the Astros. We'd be in trouble.
Yeah, if we would have gone to a 7th game without that day off, it would have been a big issue for the Phillies. Nola would have been on regular rest, but then, so look, when they were talking, they'll make a decision tomorrow if it's going to be Wheeler or Nola. What Thompson said today is that he's leaning Nola, which is fine. I mean, if he goes Nola, is fine. Nola with extra days of rest is fine. Our best pitcher is Wheeler. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that our best pitcher is Wheeler.
I think just in terms of maybe going for the throat here, you get a very, very good starter with Nola in game 1. You give yourself a chance. And then on Saturday, if you do happen to lose game 1 in Houston,
you got your best pitcher against against Farmer Valdez.
And you're bringing, and then you potentially bring the split back to Philly.
You have to. I mean, that is a must. If we have any chance of winning this series, we need to split the first 2 games. I mean, they're coming to Philly. We would need to win our 3 games here, which is going to be very, very difficult, particularly if we have that 4th game, which is our week game. It will be very, very difficult to win, to sweep at home at the Astros. So I think it's a must that we split. So maybe that's his strategy, man. Look, Thompson is a very, very thoughtful and a smart guy. He's saying, look, I'm going to give an extra rest to Wheeler, coming with I think it's 9 days of rest for Nola after he pitched game 2. It would be 9 days. And he's saying, look, you know what? I'm going to go with Nola. My hunch gives me, and that's where he goes and looks at analytics and looks at kind of what he feels in his gut. I'm going to go with Nola in game 1 and Wheeler. I wouldn't have a problem. I wouldn't have a problem with that. And as you said, we'll have a best pitcher going in game 2 against Farmer Valdez, but who knows what he decides to do.
And he's and we're in one hell of a position if he does make that call, and we're just speculating here because we don't have the information, but if he goes with Nola in game 1, the Phillies pull it off, and then you go into game 2 with Wheels.
Or Will.
And then you get 3 back in Philly. You get to end it. You potentially end the World Series. I'm not trying to get carried away, but this is what we're talking about here.
Yeah, no, it's wild. I mean, it's wild. I mean, we're gonna have to play a complete game the way we've been playing most of our games. I thought, as you said, the San Luis, the win in San Luis, that first game is scoring 6 runs in the ninth inning, just basically turned the engines on. If we would have lost that game, it would have been very, very hard to win that game three, um, on in San Luis against all those fans. But look, we did it. We did it. We swept that series, and then we split the first 2 games in Atlanta and came to Philly, won the 2 games, and then we did the same thing, split the series in San Diego, winning the first game, and coming to Philly and saying Harper said we ain't going back to San Diego. It's too long of a trip.
It is, and they were doing it to him on short rest too. We were going to have to come right back, so they were like,
and we would have had Nola on regular rest, but it would have been insane to fly that night to San Diego, arrive in San Diego, and play the next game. I mean, the same day or the next day, right? I mean, you get on the flight, land past midnight in San Diego, and having to play at 8 p.m. that same day. It would have been very, very hard. And we would not have had, Rainier would have had to come in short rest on that game 7.
So glad that didn't have to
That
happen.
didn't happen. Believe me, we were thinking about all these scenarios and just mapping everything out. And it would have been a lot harder for us because they had 2 starters in Clevenger and Minaya. That neither of them pitched very well in that game 4.
So you brought up Bregman, you brought up Alvarez. Because obviously we had to deal with Soto. Soto came on strong, as we knew he would. He's a great player. Juan Soto's a great player. Manny Machado's a great player. Had a good series as well. Who are you? Those are kind of your game wreckers for the Padres. Who are those guys for the Astros?
This team is very deep, except the center fielder, which actually hit 2 home runs against the Yankees in the Yankees series, and the catcher Maldonado. They tend to be kind of the 8th and the 9th hitter are kind of their 2 conceptually weakest hitter. I think this is a very, very complete lineup. And from Tucker, the right fielder. When you start looking at the lineup with Altuve, Peña, Bregman, then you have Alvarez, you have Tucker. and then you have Gurriel. This is the first baseman. Gurriel hit 367 in the postseason with a home run. I'm telling you, it's Peña hit 303. He had 6 extra bases in 7 games. Bergman 333 with 2 home runs and 7 RBIs. Alvarez had 241, but it got 2 home runs, 8 RBIs. This team is filthy. This team is very, very deep. And Willie or Nola are going to have to be Willie or Nola to be able to, as we said, steal 1 and then win 2 out of 3 in Philly, and then going back to Houston to win one out of the 2 with kind of with Wheeler and with conceptually Wheeler or Nola and Ranger
and heavy relief.
Eflin,
Wheeler, Anthony.
Look, you have, since the wild card era, there have been 3 teams that have been wild cards that have made it to the World Series. The Braves and the Nationals, have been able to win in those situations. We have a great opportunity. Look, the only thing you want, and I always say this, the only thing you want is an opportunity. Now it's up to us and to the team to execute, and kind of from Thompson, from a strategic standpoint, that he out strategize every single manager that he has faced so far in the postseason, to continue doing that against Dusty Baker. Dusty Baker, by the way, he deserves to win a World Series, but not this one. He can wait for next year or maybe years beyond. And the other thing is, we need to out strategize them, and we need to play great defense. Defense is going to be key. This is a very good defensive player. Bregman at third base. Peña is okay, but Altuve is an outstanding second baseman. Gurriel is very, very good, and Tucker. Their center field is really, really good, and their catcher is outstanding. It's not like Realmuto, but it's outstanding as well.
So who do you think is going to be the unexpected hero? Let's say I tell you I get to time travel, come back from the Eagles have 2 games, and And during this time, the Phillies are playing every day. And I come back and I tell you, the Birds did well. The Phillies won the World Series. Who was the unexpected hero?
Look, when you look at this World Series, because they're so stacked, I mean, in terms of their entire pitching staff, you're going to have your big hitters are going to have to step up and be the big hitters and the outstanding major league players. So you go to the Schwarbers, the Hoskins, beyond Harper, right? Harper is at the top of that list, but you're going to need, in addition to Harper, the Schwarber, the Hoskins, the Romutos, and the Castellanos, the supposed starts, and also I'll add to that group Segura. Segura is a very important player in the bottom of the order because he's a contact hitter, and he's been in big situation and has delivered for this team. We're gonna have it has to be a team effort. It cannot, and you saw it in the Padres series. Okay, Harper was kind of the engine, but Realmuto contributed, Hoskins contributed, Schwarber contributed, Castellanos contributed. That's how we're gonna have to win the series. It cannot just be one hero and expect that he's gonna carry it. Our stars need to carry us, and we need the supporting cast to also do their magic to be able to beat this tremendous Astros team. They won I think it's the second largest gap between the regular season and in terms of win. They won 106 games. We won 87. It's the second largest gaps in the history of baseball that we are facing in this World Series.
David and Goliath. You'll hear that a ton over the next few days.
I look. I would not bet against the Phillies. The Phillies are hot, and they're as hot as anyone. And it's Red October. Red October is red, and we're going with it.
We're talking about the fightings. We're talking about the fightings.
Yes, said. Said.
So,
unbelievable, man! Unbelievable.
Are you taking Bryce Harper for it? Say that again. The Phillies do pull this off. Are you taking for MVP Bryce Harper or the field?
What do you mean?
What? So I could give you the guess would be Bryce Harper or any other Philly. You get.
I'll take Bryce Harper. I mean,
okay.
Look, this is. I think this team, you can hit home runs against them, but they're such a smart team that they allow home runs without men on base, which is the way you win games. I mean, you can allow a big hit, but the big hit doesn't create enough damage. Wheeler, I mean, maybe Nola now that he could be the starter of game one. Wheeler, Nola, and Harper need to carry this team in their back. Okay. I mean, it has to be. I mean, normally I would say in a unique World Series or in an even shorter series, I would tell you, I mean, the Seguras of this world or the Castellanos. I mean, everybody needs to contribute here. It's not going to be a one guy, but Harper needs to be able to be effective. And I know they're going to pitch around him. I mean, I know they're hardly going to pitch to Harper, but Romuto have to come up with big hits. I mean, look, when Schwarber and Hoskins are hot, they're hardly unstoppable. We're going to need them to be hot. I mean, that's the only way we're going to win the series. I mean, outslogging their hitting and being able to hit against this outstanding pitching they have. They have a guy out of the bullpen. His name is Abreu. Just to give you an idea, 6 innings, no runs, 10 strikeouts.
Oof.
He's filthy. I mean, he throws a slider among the best sliders, and then Presley, their closer. I mean, 5 innings, 8 strikeout, no runs. I mean, 3 saves during the postseason. I I was looking at a little bit of the stats as I was preparing. Just to give you, let me see if I can find it here right quick. I mean, just to give you a perspective. I mean, they have allowed against the first games against Seattle, they allowed 7 runs. And that was the bat. Verlander had come with many days without pitching, but then the second game it was 4. They won 4-2, and then they won. By the way, they're 7-0, right? 7-0 in the postseason. Second game they allowed 2 runs. The third game they didn't allow a run. That was a game that lasted 18 innings, and ended 1-0 against Seattle. Then against the Yankees they allowed 2 runs, 0 runs, and then 5 runs in the last. I mean, they are a very, very good team. And they will score 5 to 6 runs. So the question is, can the can our pitching hold them to 3 runs per se, and can our hitters be able to deliver enough runs to be able to outplay them?
We will have to see, and part of the key here is whether they're able to. Key to this is you have to split one of the first two. We'll have to see if it'll be Aaron Nola or Zach Wheeler that
And
tries to pull it
maybe
off.
that's what Thompson be thinking. Let me put Nola first, go against their number one, and I'll put my number one against their number two. And if I don't win the first game, I can win the second game. But the only issue that I have with that is just one. If you go to a 7th game, Wheeler will be pitching game 6. Because unless he decides to go in short rest, and then that's a different story. And look at it. As I mentioned to you, in regular rest, the ERA of Wheeler in the regular season was 3.66. When he has an extra day of rest, 2.02, 2.02 ERA. So I mean, and the same thing with Nola. When Nola had an extra day of rest, he was a much better pitcher. So I would pitch 4. I would not pitch 3, even though we run a risk on that game 4.
What about you again? You bump him back instead of you bump him back to game 2, but you also don't pitch him game 6. Say game 7's my must win.
I mean, who are you gonna pitch in game 6? That's the question. You're not going to put a falter. I mean, going into a, we cannot arrive in Houston on that day needing to win 2 games. We're going to have to win 1. Look, I think it's set. I think the way we're going at it is set. And look, if it's Nola, it's Nola. He hit them during 6 and a third or six innings. The last time he faced them when we passed to the postseason. Yeah, when we clinched the postseason. So
when the dancing on my own got its first champagne celebration.
I trust Thompson. Strategically, Thompson have proven to me to be an outstanding manager. What a difference. I mean, from the beginning of the year, this guy has basically done such a remarkable job. I mean, both from a strategy standpoint as well as the team, managing the team. He's special.
Oscar, I gotta ask you before we go on your prediction. You're going Phils in 7?
In 6.
Phils in 6.
Phils in 6.
Sad.
Phils in 6. Winning. The other thing is a major advantage for our fans. Winning in Philly is not going to be easy for the Astros. I mean, and that's a great thing because we go with Ranger, probably Syndergaard, and probably either Nola or Wheeler on that 6 game. It's not gonna be easy for them. I mean, that 4th game is the key that we were able to steal. Before the game, I said 11. I think we ended up 10-6. I said 11-9 was my prediction on the final score on that game. And I thought we were going to lose that game prior to the game. I did not have a good feeling, but you know what? It was destiny.
It was. So much of this has felt like destiny. I mean, you got all these guys. I love the little moments where we get to see Edmundo Sosa make a play. You get to see, it's just so much fun. Baseball is such a fun sport. And
look, when Sosa is in the field, there's a level of energy in that infield that, I mean, and you see him running the bases when he hit a double. I mean, he brings a lot of energy to our team. I love the way he plays on defense and the energy that he brings to our team. He's a really, really good player. But by the way, credits to Dombrowski. What an outstanding job. I mean, when we talk about a mastermind, in addition to Thompson, I mean, we definitely have to put the experience that Dombrowski has and his ability to make trades. March, that play that he made out there, he won with that home run the Atlanta game, and he made a play in center field that very few center fielders can make with his size back there, grabbing a ball against Myers. That was a ball that was hit by Myers. I mean, that was an outstanding play on that game 4.
It is a very exciting time. Oscar said Phil's in 6.
Phil's in 6. Phil's said.
Oscar, tell the people where we can follow along and show you some support. We definitely got to get more of
Well,
this.
I mean, Twitter is where I'm most active. I'm on all social media, in Twitter, Instagram, uh, TikTok, and and in Facebook at Oscar Budejen. So just add Oscar Budejen. I'm there. Look, this is it cannot be more exciting than this. By the way, take a look at the schedule. So we play Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. We are landing in the early hours, probably at, I don't know, 4 or 5 a.m. In Philly, and I'm doing the Eagles games against the Steelers on Sunday. And you know what? God is good. We play when we go to Houston. We play game 6 and 7, and then the next day after the
Houston.
7th game, we
Yes.
play the Texans in Houston. How about that? Huh?
It's just it
Small
just
world,
feels
man.
meant to be, y'all.
It's
It just
small
feels
world.
meant to be.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Well,
no,
thank you all.
yeah, it's a pleasure, Matt. Thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you all so much for listening. And Oscar, it's always great talking. You guys are getting to listen to me talk to Oscar, but I'm sending him stuff and talking to him all the time. It's always great to have you on. If you're one of those people who like on Twitter to keep people to stay in their lane, the sports, then don't come to my this one you see on the screen, Politidope, POLITIDOP, because that's a whole mix of all my interests. But if you're just into sports, it's mention pod and honorable mention _, on Instagram. But
and you can listen to our games on 1680 AM.
Yes.
And on the MLB app, if you go ESP, get ready for some action.
Oh, that man, Bryce Harper with that campanazo. Yeah, that big.
By the way, just so everybody know,
slide.
campanazo is smashing the bell. That's what it means in Spanish. So
that's what he did.
Campanazo. Just imagine a priest going on top of the church and just smacking the bell. I mean, we're gonna need a lot of campanazos to be able to beat this Astros team. They're really good.
Said. All right, y'all.
Let's go, Phils.
All right. Well, take care, Oscar. Thank you.
Thank you, man.